All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Fit IT Guy. Today we're going to be looking at the new 2026 Tesla Model Y Juniper. We're going to be looking at all the new features on the Juniper compared to the original Tesla Model Y. I'm coming from the 2020 Model Y long-range all-wheel drive, and this is the long-range rear-wheel drive. So the first thing you're going to notice is this huge daytime running light extends around the whole front of the car. There's some splits in here, unlike the Cybertruck where it's just one solid piece. It's three separate pieces for this. So you no longer have your headlights up here, your headlights are down here, and your high beams are down here also, and you get the matrix high beams. It'll actually turn off the high beam on a certain portion if there's a car coming the opposite direction or if there's a person walking in front of you. So which is pretty awesome. Also in the front here, we get a new front bumper camera, which is great. I know that's a long awaited feature. Even the new Model 3 doesn't have that, the Model 3 Highland. So that's great. Also, the front bumper camera has a washer for it also that you can activate from the inside of the car on the screen. And also the car itself just looks a lot more aggressive than the original Model Y. From the factory, just without any modifications to the car, it looks way more aggressive. To me, it looks more sporty and more stylish than the original car. The original car, you had to do a lot of modifications like I did on mine to make it look that way. So if we come to the side here, I have the 19-inch cross-flow wheels. So these are the new 19-inch cross-flow wheels. This is a new option for the Model Y Juniper. And these wheels actually came with Pirelli Scorpion tires, which is pretty cool. Those should last really long and they should be very sporty and have some good grip too. On the sides here, we also have the new skull cap mirror design. So this design helps improve efficiency by 4% according to Tesla. And it's just a much nicer design and it helps reduce wind noise too. But you can see from the side of the car itself, the side profile, without looking at the front and rear, looks exactly the same. You probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference, which brings me to my next point, which is the new comfort suspension. They fully redid the suspension on these, same as the Model 3 Highland. If some of you have driven that car, or I've noticed that people have been replacing the original suspension on the Model 3s with the Model 3 Highlands. I've been doing that myself. That's actually a service I offer. If anyone is local to New Jersey, New York area, I live in Weehawken, New Jersey. You can see the city behind us, right by New York City. I do those installations and people just love it. The new suspension is just amazing. I know now that the new Juniper suspension does retrofit perfectly fine on the original Model Y. So anyone that wants to have that suspension installed on their car, you can send me a email at thefititguide9@gmail.com, or you can write a comment down below and I can reach out to you. It's a huge improvement with the suspension. Mind you, I previously had installed a Tine suspension on my Model Y, my original Model Y, and I had the Olin suspension. I would say that this is pretty much 90% of the Tine suspension and 80% of what the Olin suspension feels like. It's so perfect. It's a luxury car feel while still being sporty, and it handles way better than the original Model Y. The only thing, just on some big bumps and potholes and things like that, you still get that little bang and clank, but the car itself is just so much more soundproof compared to the original suspension on the car. So now let's take a look at the rear of the car. We have the rear light bar that actually is not a tail light over here. The tail light's up here and it projects the light down. So yeah, we have the light bar here on the rear now. You can kind of see it. It's a little dim because it's daylight, but at night it's so bright it shoots down onto the ground. It's just a really nice light bar. It's super cool looking. I'll show up some pictures here of how it looks. And with that, you have two new brake lights that go here and here. I'll kind of show that to you now. And you have your turn signals down here as well, so that's a bit of a change. The whole trunk on the previous Model Y used to be a one-piece design, so now it's multiple different pieces. This is to help bring down insurance costs. So you have the rear diffuser here, which actually looks super sporty. You have your tow hitch cover here also, but they raised up the rear diffuser a few inches to help with the lower impacts from sedans and other cars hitting you. So this is metal here. This is plastic, obviously. So to help with people that might be hitting their car, their trunk on the garage doors, that's a huge thing that happens a lot, just to help bring down insurance costs a bit. So we'll see how that translates to insurance costs going forward. So it's pretty neat. It's actually a completely different glass on the rear trunk too. It used to be like a little bit curved here, circular. Now it's kind of just like more of a square shape as it comes down. So we're gonna go ahead and open the trunk here. The trunk actually has two powered struts now. Previously, the original Model Y had one powered strut. This would cause issues over time because the one strut would be stronger than the other, and it would cause there to be a little bit of a gap with the trunk. Myself, I had to take my car to the service center. They had to go to the body shop to basically unweld the hinge and then re-weld it so that it aligned perfectly because my trunk stopped closing properly at some point. You can see it's pretty much the same amount of space in the trunk. You do get this parcel shelf now though, which is pretty neat. It just folds up like this and you can just slide it right into place like so, and cover up any valuables or stop the sun from going into things. If you're going to be parked for a long time, you did your groceries, you can fold it right back up again. And the trunk has a cutout here for the parcel shelf, which is nice, and you can just pack it up under the cover here. The trunk does seem a little bit deeper on both the front portion of the sub trunk and the rear portion, so it does seem a little bit deeper overall, and the side buckets here seem a little deeper as well, which is pretty nice, so you get a little bit more trunk space. Also, we now have the 2 new powered rear seats. So we have these 2 buttons here. Just go ahead and press them, and you'll notice it actually pushes the front seats forward to let the rear seats down, and it'll move the front seats back as we do that, which is pretty freaking cool. And we can go ahead and put the seats back up now. So this is awesome. You don't have to go back to the rear door, put them down, put them back up, and come back here. You can just do everything from the trunk now, which is pretty cool. You also have your 12-volt cigarette lighter here, so that's still in the same spot. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at the rear of the car now. So one other thing you're going to notice is that the trunk here is full carpet over here, and this is all felt. This is to help with sound deadening. The whole car is sound deadened now. The whole trunk itself too is carpet everywhere. This didn't used to be carpet, so that's great. It's just going to help reduce any extra noise that may be coming from outside of the car. So we're going to go ahead and just check out the rear of the car now. So first thing, the latch of the car, when you push it here, it actually really pops out the door a lot further, so that's nice. You're going to notice that we do have ambient lighting here on the rear of the car as well as on the front of the car, so we're going to take a look at that later. But inside the car, the seats are perforated. They're not ventilated in the back, they're ventilated in the front of the car. You also get a touchscreen in the middle, and you now have an emergency handle on the bottom of the passenger door here. So there's a little cover for that, and you now have an emergency release in case there's ever any loss of power or anything. So now we're going to take a look at the front of the car. Again, we have the ambient lighting across the doors and goes around the dash here. And you have a new nice little fabric material on the front dash as well. Also, the touch screen is a little bit bigger. They reduced the bezel sizes of the screen, so it's actually a 15.4 inch screen versus a 15 inch screen, but the actual size of the screen itself is the same. You're just getting more screen real estate on the actual screen itself. So we have a new center console armrest here. You're going to notice a lot of the interior materials are a lot higher quality. We have some double stitching here with some gray stitching on here, on the door handles here also. So if you lift up the center console, there's actually no button or hinge here. It's just all not even magnetic. It has some very good weight to the hinge right here, and it just shuts down, and that's it. The interior of the center console is just a nicer felt material. And if we look here, we can push this back and expose the cup holders, and we can do the same for the front here. And again, you just get that nice felt material inside. You get Alcantara here for the wireless car chargers, and these wireless car chargers actually work for bigger phones. I have an iPhone 16 Pro Max, and it works perfectly with it in there. You can see it's actually charging now. Before, it would never work on any previous Tesla, so that's nice. You can close these up. Again, just the premium build quality of the interior. You get the gray double stitching here, the nice fabric material, the ambient lighting. So the original Model Y, you had 14 speakers for the premium audio. The premium audio was only in the all-wheel drive and the performance models. The rear-wheel drive always had the standard audio for both the Model 3 and the Model Y. So now in all Model Y Junipers, you get the premium audio. You get 16 speakers instead of 14 on the previous model. It used to have a couple cutouts here for the speakers, so those are hidden now. That's pretty cool. These are more of, again, a soundproof material. You still have the tweeters up here, your 3 speakers in the dash. The big door speakers down there, they made that look a little nicer as well. And on the side door pockets, you'll notice that those are lined with carpet, again, adding to the premium feel and reducing the road noise inside the car. On the side here, you'll notice this more premium looking speaker grill as well. There's another extra speaker there now that didn't used to be there. So the sound quality just sounds so much better in this car compared to the original. I had put an Alpine's speaker kit on my original Model Y, and this sound system in this Model Y pretty much sounds like that Alpine, maybe like 90% of it. It's just really good. The subwoofer is way better. Everything's great. So you get the ventilated, cooled, and perforated front seats for both the driver and the passenger, which is pretty nice. So I can go on the screen here, go to seats, And you can see I have the choice of making them heated or cooled, and they actually work very well. In this, in the summer heat, they're definitely a necessity. I used to always sweat in the previous Model Y. You can also fold the rear seats from back here too. So even though I'm sitting in the car right now, it's pushing my seat forward and it's pushing the rear seat forward. Yeah, it's pushing the rear seat forward, then pushes it back. And then I'm gonna go ahead and unfold them again. And you can see it's pushing the seats forward and pushing the front seat back, which is pretty cool again. All right, so taking a look at the steering wheel here, the first thing you're gonna notice is that the steering wheel just has a much nicer material to it. It's not the leather that we're typically used to. It's some other sort of material. Also, something I noticed on the bottom that I didn't notice watching the car in other videos is that it's kind of flat here on the bottom. So if I go ahead and press the brake, I just get the wheel into position, you can see it's flat here, which is just a nice sporty design. It actually helps too when you're turning. You know that that's the bottom when you're turning, so you can go back easier. You have this new cutout here in the middle for whoever wants to put their hand there. And a lot of the buttons have changed. So you have the capacitive buttons on the wheel now, which is kind of like the Model S and the Model X, and now the new Model 3 Highland. So you have your voice button here if you want to use voice commands. If you want to see the front camera, you can press this button. It'll show you your front bumper camera there, which is nice. And here's your button to spray the camera, so we can see how that works there. Pretty cool if your front camera's dirty and you need to park and see where you're going, how close you are. For autopilot, you now have this button here. It's not going to work now because we're not in drive. And we have our windshield wipers here. Our high beam is here now, which is interesting. You know, usually you're used to pressing the stock and then your typical scroll wheel, whatnot. The airbag on the wheel is a different shape completely, and you have the Tesla logo and wording instead of the original logo. So the other biggest thing you're going to notice is there's no more drive stock. So to put the car in drive, reverse, neutral, or park, you do it from the screen, or you can do it from up here. So if I tap this, so if you look up here, these are normally not illuminated, but I just put it in drive. So you can click here to put it in park. It's a little bit harder of a touch than I expected it to be. If you need to go in drive, you can tap that. The new lights up here are different. The lights for the mirror are actually some certain special certification specifically for makeup. So they made the lights look more natural for people applying makeup, for everyone in the passenger seat and so on. Your hazard lights up here. The rear view mirror, it looks exactly the same. You actually, I feel like you get more view from the trunk than you did with the previous one. I feel like I'm seeing just a little bit more. Obviously, we know that the rear view mirror, you can't really see much to begin with this car. Camera is the same. Obviously, you have the new hardware 4 on this. If you had an older Model Y, older than 2022, you had or Model 3, you had a hardware 3. So now you have hardware 4. So full self-driving works a lot better. Also, one thing we'll see too is the new way the car looks. So you see the DRL light is showing on the screen here. And if we put the car in drive, it'll show us that DRL here too. So we can put that back. You can probably see the rear lights also. That's how the rear lights look because I'm pressing on the brake right now. So for the ambient lighting, obviously we're in the daytime now, but you can see it's still visible. I have it on the highest brightness setting. So to adjust the lights, you go here. You can adjust the footwell lights, ambient lighting. You can set it to night only, which will turn it off. You can set it to off completely. I would like to have it on the highest brightness, and you could change the colors like this. There's a little color wheel. Set it to whatever you like to set it to. You can save some different colors as well. I like blue, even though the car is red. And for the turn signal stock here, it's a much different shape. It's super thin, and it's just a turn signal. It doesn't go forward or back, just up or down. That's it. This is great because the Model 3 Highland doesn't have a turn signal stock. It has turn signal buttons. I would prefer actually if this car had a drive stock and had turn signal buttons, honestly. That's my personal preference. I kind of hate this screen thing because I like to go in and out, in and out. But there is a auto shift beta, which you can have on, out of park, or off. What that does is when you're turning, let's say you parked in a parking spot, either you pulled in forward or you reversed in. When you want to come out, you press on the brake, you go, you turn the wheel. When you brake again, it's going to set the car into drive. If you're driving, or if you were in reverse, it'll set it to drive, which is great for U-turns, which is great for K-turns if you need to turn on a tight street. So there is that at least, so that you don't have to constantly press on the screen to go into drive and reverse. So here on the manual door release, we do have a logo here now to let people know that there is that this is a door release. Again, this is a manual release. It's a cable release only to be used if you are stuck in the car and there's no power. It's a manual release that's not powered. Only to be used for emergencies, because if you use it, it doesn't lower down the window. Like if you press the button, this lowers down the window. And if you use this one, it doesn't. So you can damage the trim over time if you use this button, just to let people know if this is your first Tesla. They did bring down the seat belt a little bit. They said this is to help with larger individuals. So they give you a little bit more seat belt room so that you can have a little bit more comfort, which is nice. So on the rear here, the seat belt used to be behind and it would go around the seat. Now they have it just on the side of the car, which is great, because every time you put the seat down and had to put it back up, you had to readjust the seat belt or make sure the seat belt went back over the seat. So this is great that the seat belt's on the side now. Just little quality of life improvements there, just to make everything easier when using the car. And again, they have a nicer material here all around the car just to help absorb the sound. So let's go ahead and take a look at one more thing on the outside. So on both sides of the car here, there's something new. It's almost like a reflector, but it's a powered light here on this side and on the other side as well. I originally thought it was for charging. I thought it was a charging status indicator, but when you tap on the charging port here, you still have the Tesla logo here. When you're charging the car, you know, that'll turn blue. I think these are just kind of like an extra light on the side of the car so that if your car is on, people can see that. So we'll let the charging light go down. And the final thing we're going to look at here is the Frunk. So let's go ahead and open the Frunk. I'm just gonna go ahead and open it from the app here. And you'll see that there's no more Tesla emblem on the front either. It's just plain. And on the rear, there's the Tesla lettering, but not the Tesla logo. Let's go ahead and open the Frunk. And you'll notice that the Frunk itself is actually a little bit wider, and it does seem slightly deeper too. There used to be some humps here on the Frunk, on the sides. Now it's just perfectly an oval shape. And they did move the washer fluid here for your windshield washing fluid. This is down here. Before it used to be up here under this plastic trim here. Okay, so that's basically it for the car. There's some, specifics such as certain downforce here, certain coefficient of drag, all those fancy numbers. We're not going to get into that, just the main important stuff that people probably care about the most. So this is the full car, the new 2026 Model Y Juniper in the multi-coat red. This is a $2,000 color option. I was lucky and got the car during 4th of July sale where they offered red, white, and blue for free. Yeah, so my previous car was red. I love the color. I didn't know how I would like red at first on the first Model Y. I actually ended up loving it so much. It's definitely the best color. They offer red, white, blue, black, stealth gray. So this is definitely the best color. It's also the most expensive color option that they offer. And you can totally see why. Yeah, again, this is the rear-wheel drive model, the long range. So this actually, one final thing is this gets 30 more miles of range than the previous Model Y. So some of you are probably thinking, like, why did I downgrade from long-range all-wheel drive with acceleration boosted rear-wheel drive? It's actually pretty fast still. Yeah, so the rear-wheel drive model is actually still super fast. It's only 0.9 seconds slower, 0 to 60, which is perfectly fine, and you still get the same top speed. On the highway, I still feel like it's pretty much the same car. The only difference I notice is from 0 to 60, which still is extremely fast compared to other cars, especially in the price range. Yeah, so I went with the rear-wheel drive model. I figured I'd save some money, save 5,000 bucks compared to the all-wheel drive. And also I'm going to get 30 more miles of range. I had an issue with range previously. Of course, I did a ton of mods to my car, but I figured 30 more miles of range. So the rear wheel drive actually weighs 150 pounds less than the all wheel drive. So you have to take that into account too, which also helps bring the range up a little bit. But still, even the all wheel drive model gets another 20 miles of extra range compared to the previous all wheel drive model. So both cars are just more efficient in general. The new Model Y Juniper is 4% more efficient than the previous generation Model Y. So all around, all the new features, and at the price it is, I believe this was $45,000. I got the wide interior, of course, which was an extra $1,000. But for $45,000, I got my first generation Model Y, the 2020 used, for $49,000, and they were selling for about $60,000 at the time. So to have a car that's about $15,000 less and has all these extra features and feels more like a luxury car, way more comfortable and way more sporty at the same time. So to me, again, the car front and back looks way more sporty and aggressive than the previous car. So I could totally rock this car just the way it is on the exterior. Of course, I'm gonna do a ton of interior mods too. I'm gonna do some exterior mods, so we'll see what that is, but stay tuned for some upcoming videos. I'll be doing a lot of modifications. I'm gonna be putting a front dash screen like I did in my previous car. I'm gonna be doing the yoke steering wheel just because I love it so much. I'll be doing a soft close frunk. Eventually, I'll be doing the full powered frunk just because I think it's such such a necessary feature. That's the one thing I wish Tesla added, was the powered frunk. It would just make this car perfect as is. But yeah, I love the ventilated seats. I love all the new features, the powered rear seats. I thought that was just a gimmick at first, but using it now, it makes so much sense, and it's just a big time saver and a creature comfort feature, of course. Yeah, so thanks again for watching. Stay tuned. I'm gonna have so many more videos with this new car. It's great. It's just amazing. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think of the new car. You're gonna be upgrading from the previous car, or you're just gonna stay with the previous Model Y, Model 3, whatever you have. If you don't have a Tesla, are you gonna be going with this one? Again, for the price, this is way more appealing. And please, if you're gonna get one before September 30th to take advantage of the $7,500 federal tax credit before that expires. I'm sure Tesla will be pushing out some new incentives as it gets closer to September 30th. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.